Hi everyone and welcome to Bear Clooney Watches channel. Before you start criticizing me and saying, there you go Bear, you are jumping on Rolex Bubble bandwagon, please allow me to give my point of view. The fact is that this topic about Rolex Bubble is very prominent in our watch collector world, and I think it's good to hear people with different opinions. We're talking about extremely important brand, and we are talking about quite important economic development relevant to that brand and its product. So, am I jumping on bandwagon? Not necessarily. I had my opinion on this. I'm just being encouraged to share and contribute to the topic. Do I want to grow my channel? Of course. All of us YouTube creators, for one reason or the other, want to grow our YouTube channel. And my reason is well known. My channel is fully about popularization of our hobby. Now, going back to the topic, to the subject. Rolex Bubble. I'm going to approach this from two different angles. Well, the first angle will be discussing economic event, so-called bubble, and then discussing Rolex as the business and the company in relation to this economic event. You see, Rolex bubble as the, economic bubble as the expression is relatively new. In the world of economy, maybe started to be existing about 20 years ago. And then it just exploded. Bubble is everywhere. New real estate bubble, there is the bond bubble, tech bubble, dot-com bubble, stock bubble, healthcare bubble, dollar bubble, housing bubble, so many bubbles. Is that a bubble of the bubble? That's the question. One economist really had enough, and he basically said everything is a bubble. I think that this comment is actually foundation of my approach, and I'll explain. I'll get deeper into it. There's an economist named Schiller who basically describes discovering a bubble. Methodology of discovering a bubble is very similar or same as discovering a mental illness. And in our watch collecting world, unfortunately, mental illness is quite present, so many of you will relate. I'm just joking. Don't take this as a making fun of mental illness. Anyway, so he basically gives diagnostics, gives the signs of how he discovers a bubble. So first, what he notices is the rapidly increasing price. The next thing he notices, there are popular stories that justify that bubble. And they are basically popularizing how much money people are making being inside that bubble. Then there is envy and regret of those who are outside the bubble wanting to get inside the bubble. And then ultimately, there is a lot of cheerleading by influencers, by media, social media, YouTube, and so on. There you go. That's a recipe. That's how Schiller says he discovers bubbles. So simply by that logic, we can say, well, yeah, there is definitely a Rolex bubble, right? However, I think what's happening and what ultimately needs to be discussed, is it a bubble or it's a cycle? Because if we're looking at the economy, we have something that offers return, a big return, right? In the aspect of what some approach as a bubble. And then people rush to exploit opportunity. The prices are coming up, And then sometimes the return prospects fall, right? And then low returns scare people away. So the market adjustment happens. And then again, prices might rise or for a while maintain themselves. You see, that's a cycle. And to determine if something is a bubble, I think we need to see that this cycle breaks. And in this case, what that means is that we will see continuous decline of the prices, continuous to the point of zero. So is something like that actually possible to happen for the company like Rolex? Well, if we are going to apply a simple trend, economic trend, and we look at the Rolex as the company and their product, you see, they don't have shares, they're not publicly share company. They are set up in a very interesting way as a charity, which gives them a lot of tax benefits and which gives them opportunity not to answer to anyone, but rather to do what is in the best interest of their product. So now we look at the Rolex and we try to understand Rolex economy as a trend. And if we look at that, we are going to see that Rolex as the product, as the company trends to be growing on a consistent basis. It is in line with inflation. Some things are a little bit above, but overall, there is no decline. There is no break of cycle. Now, we will see the cycles happen in that path of economic line. But we are not going to see any breaking. So is this the time finally when it breaks, when we actually see disaster happens and we soon have Daytonas at 75% off? I highly doubt that. I think what we have here in our world of watch geeks or watch lovers are those who are just very, very upset at either Rolex or authorized dealers or flippers or gray market dealers. All these are components and players of Rolex economy. Rolex as the company doesn't deal directly with the customer. Their customer are authorized dealers. Now, some of those authorized dealers are willing to sell their product to flippers. Flippers are those who basically want a fast gain. They want to take the watch, not enjoy the watch, and not buying it for the reasons that many of us do. They sell it, they make a fast profit, done. Then the great market dealers who are buying at a higher price, and now they obviously need to make their money, so they are increasing price further. So what happens now? It goes to the extent where you selling one steel Daytona, Rolex Daytona, is reaching the price of the precious metal Daytona. So it starts to kind of be like, wait. Hey, listen, I love the steel professionals, but it cannot justify itself being sold at the precious metal level. So the price adjustment starts to happen. Okay, for bubble to burst, the cycle needs to break. And declining of the pricing, declining of demand and everything else relevant to that has to be continuous to the total zero. I can assure you that that will never happen to Rolex. So, from that perspective, Rolex bubble will never burst. But the question is, has it ever really been a bubble? Or it's simple cycle? I would say it's been a cycle. There has never truly been a bubble. I think it comes down to good understanding of what bubble means economically and what is really Rolex as a company set up. For Rolex to fail or to create a situation where their watches are going to start being devalued on the market, they would have to overproduce, or demand would have to drop so much that existing production is by far exceeding demand. Do you really see either one of those happening with this company? I don't. So I can't really accept and understand how do some see of Rolex bubble happening. You know, some people are simply jumping the gun and saying things such as, well, you know what I seen in the authorized dealer displayed OP 39 millimeters, I seen the Yacht Master and so on. There are some professional pieces which are less in demand. And yeah, you will see them on occasion. But demand for those hard to get pieces is still there. The prices are holding, not to the extent of what the gray market thought they can fully get, but they are kind of adjusting that, and it's a slight market adjustment, such as Watchfinder situation where they had a Rolex sale. So I don't know. I'm speaking in Canadian dollar terms. The Daytona doesn't sell for $35,000; it sells for $30,000 or $33,000 or whatever. That's not a sale. That's a price adjustment on a very, very, very overpriced high level. So to speak of the bubble and to associate Rolex as a part of that economic situation, economic development, is almost oxymoron. It truly is. I can pick and talk about so many companies or products that are more acceptable to a bubble in modern capitalist economy. Rolex, gold, they'll be going through cycle. Rolex is almost like a commodity, almost. And for that to change, there has to be too many factors which would be changed by 180 degrees, and I simply cannot see that happen. So there you go. This is Bear Clooney's point of view on the so-called Rolex bubble. You know what? Don't be too critical over people giving their point of view on that. I think it's a good thing. What I don't like is when it's all in service of the clickbait, when it's set up in a way that it doesn't really provide anything substantial, it doesn't really say much, but the clickbait is there and it just gets you there to see a sale on someone's straps. That's not the purpose of the Rolex bubble as a topic. I would say that straps, shitty freaking straps, can reach the bubble much sooner than Rolex as a product. So at the end, thank you for giving me opportunity to share my point of view. I invite you to subscribe to my channel, help me grow a genuine watch enthusiast channel, and don't forget to click on like if you appreciated this video and if you've seen anything positive in it. All the best to all of you. Thank you so much for watching Bear Clooney Watches channel. Please don't forget to subscribe. All the best to all of you.